Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love, American made.
Listen up, Autothoughts and Decepticlowns. You are listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Nero.
I'm your other host, Audrey.
You know, it's like a wonderful life.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
We have
it is a little soap opera here in the first episode, huh?
We have our... Oh, no, I was talking about the second one.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, in the second episode, yeah.
Yeah, There's a few things every Western animated series has to do, right? You gotta have your episode where you shrink down and go inside someone to shoot at, like, a disease, which we haven't done that one yet. And one of them that, you know, every show does is they gotta have a It's a Wonderful Life episode where...
Mo Malto, this is your life.
Where one of the characters goes, I wish I'd never done that, and then some sort of, like, godlike force says this can be arranged.
Bet. When Quintus Prime says bet.
Oh, Optimus! Optimus Prime. With the power of AI, we can insert Optimus Prime into the classic film "It's a Wonderful Life," starring Jimmy Stewart.
I love this remaster.
He's just back. He's just back there. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's literally just in truck mode the entire time.
Yeah,
he's the Christmas Hess truck.
But before we get to any of that,
it's the biggest douche in the universe time.
Yeah, we gotta do Alien first. So just out of nowhere, like just sort of, it just happens. A bunch of Decepticons escape for no real reason.
Yeah, unclear. So first of all, this is episode 21 of Earthspark, What Dwells Within. And there's a prison break at Ghost HQ. I
have to assume this has something to do with the Cut Ravage plot line, right?
Absolutely.
Like, surely this would have been Ravage finally springing them or something.
Even without, like, the Cut, like, we see Ravage, like, exit the cell. So,
yeah. Presumably,
he is responsible in both the uncut and cut versions for whatever is happening here.
So, everybody's breaking out.
What?
I said, so everybody's breaking out. Everybody's, well, okay, not actually everybody.
Except for Hardtop.
Yeah, so the list of guys running are the Seekers, Skywarp, Novastorm, and Starscream, and then Swindle and Soundwave.
Yeah. Who
pretty quickly get separated and trapped.
So they are escaping through, like, an access tunnel, I guess?
Yeah.
And Ghost, as soon as the, like, alarms go off, starts shutting down, like, lock doors. And Soundwave and Swindle are simply not fast enough to escape those.
Nope.
In fact, like, to actually get away from them, Skywarp and Novastorm both transform into jets and, like, literally jet off to get past them. Starscream, interestingly, does not.
No, it's because he needs to stay in robot mode to blow the tunnel behind them to prevent Ghost from pursuing them.
I'm pretty sure he has guns into jet mode.
Yeah, but he can't fly backwards. It's hard for a jet to do that, unless you're like a weird VTOL jet, which Starscream is very much not.
Yeah, I guess. He could have also, like, transformed afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the point is he does not, which is, like, an interesting choice for Starscream, generally speaking, who loves flying.
He blows the tunnel, and the resulting explosion causes something to wake up.
Hey, yeah, what is that doing there?
We never get an answer.
Also, by the way, like, Swindle gets really pissed off about that, so Swindle gets, like, locked against the door, and he's like, Starscream, you can't just leave us here, and Starscream's like, I can actually, and leaves.
Yep. Meanwhile, the Maltos are on a nature hike trying to find the magic water cave where everyone was born, because Robbie He is sick. And let me tell you, when they first show him, he's like, oh, he's not looking too good, huh?
Yeah, no, he looks like shit. Homie, you look like shit. Everyone's like, Robbie, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Like, just pale as fuck, dark circles under his eyes.
Like, genuinely, like, almost skeletal. This poor kid.
He's having a bad case of cyber sleeve withdrawal. And
which will get worse. Spoilers.
It's gonna get so much worse. But because, you know, we're still in this thing where no one it has that empath like connection to each other, everyone's a little on edge, everyone's a little argumentative, and
Twitch and Thrash,
oh yeah,
in particular, are going at it.
They're in prime sibling fight mode, and hashtag seeing all of this, seeing them like roll around in the dirt, just kind of remembers that time she almost killed all her siblings under Mandroid's control. Just kind of thinks about it.
I mean, she's fully dissociating, but let us not like be blunt with our words here.
Staring off into the middle distance, thinking about this.
Yeah. But so it is very funny though. Like Twitch and so what Twitch and Thrash are fighting about is whether Twitch accurately remembers where the cave is. Spoiler: she does, because Twitch can do everything. And Thrash just like not trusting her enough. But Twitch does leave them to the cave, and she does like throw it in Thrash's face. And the water's great for about 5 seconds before it all disappears.
And then someone it sounds like someone's slurping it through a straw. It sounds like someone just stuck a big crazy straw and just went
I drink your milkshake.
Yeah, so oops. No healing water for Robbie, but then double oops.
Yeah.
The constant childhood specter that we all feared, quicksand, rears its ugly head once more.
So what is left when all the water is gone is actually just goop that sucks you in. And then they all drowned and died, and that was the end of Earthspark.
So meanwhile, while this is happening, beneath them, the Seekers are going through this deep tunnel system, and Starscream mentions that these tunnels are extremely old. They are older than Witwicky and Ghost. So like, who knows? Like, these are ancient tunnels.
Old as balls.
Why are there a network of Cybertronian tunnels deep beneath Witwicky?
We do get a couple hints in this episode for people who are real TF heads.
Yeah, and you know, I have a lot of questions about Quintus Prime here.
Yeah. So it sounds like what it seems like to me, and we don't have definitive proof of this yet, but in the same way that in like other series, statistically speaking, Shockwave is the reason everything goes wrong. I'm pretty sure Quintus Prime is the reason everything goes wrong in this series.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about like Quintus's other, because like the thing about him, he is one of those primes who has very rarely been featured in anything. He's kind of he's never really been explored before this show. Like, most of his entries on TF Wiki are literally one sentence, and it says Quintus Prime was a member of the 13 in this and this continuity, and that's all you
and also he made the quintessence, don't worry about it.
Not even that most of the time. That is not even a factor in a lot, because the quintessence don't show up that often, so there's not really like a... But in the Covenant of Primus, we'll talk about this later. Regardless, the Maltos quite literally fall on top of the Seekers here.
Specifically Nova Prime.
Yeah,
which is very funny, because, like, they're all walking, and, like, Nova Prime and Skywarp are in front.
Nova Prime is a very different man.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Nova Storm. Nova Storm and Skywarp are walking in front, and at some point Skywarp's like, you need to shut up or we're going to cause a cave-in. And Nova Storm's like, as if. And then immediately as she says that, all of the Maltos fall on top of her, which is a very karmic reaction.
Yeah, and Starscream is like, sick. Hostages. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's like interesting. Like, obviously Starscream is menacing in his own way. And, like, they all immediately recognize him because they read comics.
Yep. He is a historical figure.
Yeah. Imagine if, like, Napoleon just, like, dropped in on you.
Yeah, and fucking, he is also a notorious historical figure. Everybody knows his reputation as, like, a chaotic, unpredictable backstabber.
Right. So, like, they all recognize him immediately. And, like, obviously he has, like, he's like, cool, these will be great hostages. But there's, like, this kind of very relaxed air about all of this.
Yeah, he's not, like, worried. And he's not like, we must foil those Malto. He's like, all right, take them off.
And, like, the Maltos aren't particularly scared either.
No.
Like,
in fact, Twitch immediately stuns all of them.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Miss Twitch.
Yeah, starts like, all right, let's take up hostage. And Twitch says, no, thank you. And fucking blasts them.
Well, what's really funny about that is that she doesn't say the words no thank you, but one of her siblings does later on in this episode.
Yes. So, as they're running away from the Seekers here, they're noticing a lot of weird stuff in these tunnels, specifically these doors that they seem to be able to open. These big ol' Cybertronian doors.
Asterisk, hashtag is in the front for all of this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they are like, oh, we must be able to open these.
yeah. So all these doors are like opening while hashtags in the front, and all of them immediately go, oh, they are responding to us, the Terrans. All 5 of us, not just one of us specifically.
So,
this is a secret tool that will not come in handy later.
And then, of course, they open one of the doors, and there's a big mouth behind there.
So this is something called the Dweller, and they talk about the lore within Earthspark of what it is. But talking back to old Quintus Prime over here and his legacy, this is something that has not been seen since G1, I'm pretty sure.
It's apparently in Cyberverse, too, but yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is in Cyberverse. It shows up very rarely. It was originally created in G1. It is a quintessent monster.
Yeah, so it originally appeared in the season 3 episode, The Dweller in the Depths, and this one is called What Dwells Within. And yeah, it's like a quintesson energy vampire, and it basically acts the same way as it does in the show. However, in G1, people who got drained by it became like zombies.
Yeah.
That does not happen here.
People who get drained by it, presumably in Earthspark, just die.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is everyone says that it's a myth. Like, Starscream later says that it's a mythical creature. But yeah, this is very much a quintesson.
Novastorm and Skywarp seem to believe in it pretty strongly, though they do get eaten by it.
They got slurped on by it.
Yeah, they do get slurped on by it, so it is a little different for them.
There's a very funny bit. So Thrash immediately runs up to fight this thing and gets eaten, but then gets spit up because Terrans don't have that much energy. They have like a little bit, but like,
yeah, mostly they're running on cave water, as we've established.
Yeah, and so it spits Thrash up and immediately goes after Novastorm. And everyone fucking runs for it after freeing Novastorm here.
So there's an interesting sequence here where, like, it turns its attention to all of the Seekers. And yes. Starscream, as the de facto leader of them, is like, don't just stand there, fire at it. And he also fires at it. Like, to be fair, like, he's not hiding behind them. He is in front of them, actually, firing at it. But it zeroes in on Novastorm, and he actually, like, tackles Skywarp out of the way.
Yeah, he does. I did notice that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I actually ran that back to see, did he just dive out of the way and knock into Skywarp, or did he actively...
No, he, like, tackles her out of the way.
Yeah, the relationship he has with the Seekers is obviously not... It's pretty dysfunctional. But yeah, he does actively tackle Skywarp.
But we do see at the end of, like, despite everything that happens in this episode, he still maintains enough trust between all of them for them to stay with him.
Yes.
When offered other choices. And I think that speaks a lot to the character of the Starscream in Earthspark specifically. And again, like, Earthspark in general, like, we've talked about this, but I think Earthspark is really invested in, like, talking about nuance for characters.
Yeah.
And, like, making sure none of the characters are black and white, good and evil. And, like, making sure that there are characters who are bad characters who make bad choices, but that those choices are influenced by their circumstances, and it's not like a simple, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, and I really appreciate about that. So I think what they do with Starscream here, and like, like, he's still at his core, like, the way he acts in this episode, you know, self-serving in many, many ways, but he's not, like, a bad person.
Yeah, and don't worry, everyone. He's still a massive bitch. Don't worry about it. He's
super bitchy, and he is, like, self-serving. Like, he's honestly, like, not to be, like, dungeon meshy pilled, but he feels a lot like Chilchuck in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Where it's like he considers himself first and foremost, but that doesn't mean he doesn't consider others.
Yeah.
So he tackles Skywarp out of the way, and Nova Storm gets slurped.
Lots of Seekers getting wrapped up in tentacles in this episode.
Yeah.
Someone out there's happy.
Listen, I was.
So anyway, the Terrans fucking kick this thing's ass, and everyone manages to slip away from it long enough to close it behind one of these doors.
And this is also the point where, like, when it comes out as well, this is the point where Nightshade just looks at it and goes, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
God bless them.
Then we cut up to Ghost HQ, where Croft says, "Yeah, so the Seekers escaped, but don't send anybody after them. They're in an unmapped tunnel system. Who gives a shit?"
Megatron is not having it. He is a vendetta against Starscream. He's like, Starscream is too dangerous and unpredictable. And, like, Optimus just, like, sort of gives him a look.
Yeah, he's like, come on, man. Bro.
Yeah, Optimus is like, hey, my beloved husband, what made him that way?
Yeah, and, like, he's really gung-ho, and Croft just ignores him, looks at Optimus, and says, "Can you please tell Megatron to fucking control himself and stop with his insubordination?" Yeah.
She's like, "I worry about the future of our relationship," and, like, Megatron's right there.
And he like walks forward as if he's gonna, you know, chew her out again, but Optimus just like puts a hand on his chest, is like, "Please."
So she eventually leaves, and Optimus is like, "How do I talk to my new husband about his ex?" and he's like, literally the line he says is like, "I know you have a complicated history with Starscream."
Yeah.
And Megatron just, like, looks at him, and he's like, "I need you to promise me that you're not going to, like, pound him into dust when we find him."
Yeah, Optimus literally says, "You need to bring him back alive."
It's like, "I need you to promise me that you're going to bring him back alive," and Megatron says nothing to that.
Yeah, he just gives a weird look.
Makes no promises. Ooh, their relationship is so bad in this. It's so juicy.
Yeah, it broke real bad.
So juicy. I love it. This is also, I think, probably, besides, like, the IDW comics, the only series I've seen that's actually explored from Starscream's perspective, like, really deleterious effect that Megatron had on him.
There's a bit of it in Prime, too, but yeah, like...
Yeah, but, like, it's not... it's not... I would say in Prime it's not taken as seriously.
That's true. Starscream is a little fucking worm in that show.
Right, exactly. And, like, here it's like, Starscream... Like, this episode is all about Starscream finding this relationship with Hashtag, which we're about to get to. And, like, Hashtag being the first person who sort of, like, actually believes him about how he was treated under Megatron, and him finding, like, a sympathetic ear for, like, the first time in millions of years. And it's like, really, listen, I'm a Starscream stan, we know this. Like, this is not news to anyone who's listened to this show at all, but, like, it is very rewarding for me to have my Blorbo situation, like, taken seriously. And, like, yeah, he's still a piece of shit. Like, don't get me wrong, he sucks. I love him because he sucks. But, like, actually exploring the circumstances that, like, led him to sucking that way, taken really seriously. Again, like, it shows like a real care to, like, the multi-dimensionality of all these characters, including Starscream, yes, but also Megatron, who is, like, an unimpeded good guy in this show.
Yeah, he is trying to do better and do right by Optimus and whatever, but he still did all that shit.
Right.
And we get a real look. Like, the old Megatron really comes out at the end of this
he
episode.
wants Starscream dead.
He's fucking scary at the end of this episode. It's so good.
Like, no questions asked, no cap, like, nothing. He like, it's on site for him.
So yeah, this stuff with hashtag first comes up in the next scene where so of course Starscream flew off in the middle of the Dweller fight, leaving Novastorm and Skywarp behind, and they're fucking bitching at him about it. While they're wandering around with the Terrans.
There's this great part where, like, the Maltos are like it's specifically Robbie who's like, well, what do you expect? He's Starscream. He's known for lying. As if, like, Starscream's not right there. As if, like, Starscream is not the biggest threat in this room right now, and he's, like, not right there. And,
but,
like,
also Starscream doesn't, like, say anything to his defense. He's like, no, I am that guy. I am that bitch.
Yeah, no, it's really, but it's like, yeah, so, like, Robbie says it, and then I think it's Jawbreaker who, like, backs him up or whatever, but it's like, it's so funny because they're like, what did you expect? Like, Starscream's known for lying, and it's like, we know this because we read comics, and Starscream's right there.
Yeah. Like, they're not too terribly afraid of these Seekers, like, blowing them up or whatever. They're like, yeah, these are just some fucking guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, they were, like, originally going to take them hostage, but as soon as the Dweller showed up, like,
yeah,
I think there was very much, like, an unspoken truce.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we gotta get out of here.
Like, the minute it shows up, they're like, all right, we gotta, like, survival is the name of the game right now.
And this is when Twitch, hearing Novastorm and Skywarp complaining about Starscream leaving them behind, is like, well, why don't you guys join up with Ghost and serve under Megatron again? And Starscream just goes, fuck you.
More to the point, he says, like, you don't know me.
Yeah, like, you don't know me, and you don't know Megatron either.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you read some comics? Cool. You think you know, like, Megatron now? You don't. Like, maybe you know who he is now. I can't tell you what it was like living under him when he was nothing but a tyrant.
Yeah, like the ruthless tyrant.
Jot that down, where all he did was instill fear into us. And, like, all of them are dismissive, except for Hashtag, who's like, eyes emoji.
Yeah, she's listening. The Dweller reappears, and everyone goes one way. Like, there's like a thing where is it Hashtag or Twitch who's like, we should go this way. And there's a moment where Novastorm and Skywarp, because Starscream says to go the other way, and Novastorm and Skywarp hesitate for a minute, well, then they go with the Terrans, because they're like, man, fucking Starscream left us to get sucked dry back there. Fuck him.
Novastorm is justified for this. Again, Starscream did knock Skywarp out of the way.
Yeah, but when Skywarp got slurped up too, he just left.
He did. Yeah, he did.
This.
Yeah, he did. Listen, he still sucks shit.
But Hashtag follows Starscream.
Yeah, so she realizes they're all running away, and the Dweller goes off to Starscream on his own, and she realizes it, and she's like, shit. And she turns around, and she transforms, and she goes after him, and everyone else is like, oh, wait, don't go!
Yep.
She's so big. I love my big buff daughter.
She's fucking huge.
So, she's still smaller than Starscream.
Starscream is not that much. Not by
about a head.
She comes up to, like, his cockpit on his chest, basically.
Yeah, she comes up to just under his shoulders. but she's so big and she's so buff. And what she does, so the Dweller is closing in on Starscream, and he's not going to go down without a fight, so he's firing at it. And out of nowhere, he's bodily tackled to the side by hashtag, who flings him over her shoulder and runs.
Yeah, using her skating, her like wheel skating technique that Alita 1 taught her a few episodes ago.
Yeah. I love my big buff daughter.
So yeah, she closes the door on the Dweller's middle.
So to be clear, we're also like getting hints right now about a special tool that won't come in handy later. Where we see hashtags, like she like hits a wall, and you can see like the energy sort of gathering around her hand and like fading through her eyes. Because she has special Wi-Fi powers. Yeah.
And she and Starscream eventually stumble on this like globe room, this control room.
It's a map room. It's like a war room.
It's giving Armada Unicron interior shots. This is a very... I don't like this whole complex. Something fucked up is going on here.
Oh, I hate this. For me, it was giving Doctor Strange love, but...
Yeah. So, Starscream immediately says, "Oh, this is a map, and here's the way out. We can just leave." And hashtag's like, "Hey, we're not leaving everybody else behind."
And Starscream's like, "Why not? They left us."
Yeah, they left us, and this, they argue a bit more, and eventually,
Starscream starts to become like really domineering, and he's like, I don't really care about like anything like about the others, whatever. I need you to do your little door trick and get us out of here. And she looks at him and goes, "Is this how Megatron treated you?" And he's like, "Yeah. You believe me?"
Yeah, like he just like stops down. It's like, "Wait, you like don't think I'm lying?"
And she
his entire
says,
demeanor changes.
Yeah, she's like, "I don't know your history, but I believe he hurt you." And he's like, "Well, shit. All right. You want to like compact like 4 million years of therapy into 20 minutes real quick?"
Yeah, they do a little bit of trauma bonding, because hashtag talks about the time that Mandroid like mind controlled her, and she like beat the shit out of her own family. She's like, that is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, and I feel so guilty about it.
Her phrase about it is like, sometimes doing bad things isn't your fault.
Yes.
And then goes into this. And to be fair, like, Starscream, like, is watching her tell the story. He's, like, horrified. Like, you can see on his face. He's like, holy shit.
He's like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's like, that's fucked up. Where is this guy? I'm gonna kill him.
Then they see a signal approaching. And they're like, oh shit, that must be the Dweller. So they get ready to fight. And then... It's just the Maltos and the Seekers. And I like this bit. I really like this bit where, like, all of the Terrans and the kids come through, and hashtag goes over to them. And then Starscream also sees that Nova Storm and Skywarp came along with them. And he, like, the look on his face is really interesting, where he's like, shit.
Yeah. Also, there's an interesting point where, as they approach, before they know it's like their friends and family, Starscream like puts a hand in front of hashtag. He's like, it's done. Like, this is my daughter.
Immediate
like,
protective instinct. Like, yeah, no, get behind me.
It's like, get behind me. And he's like, it's coming. It's like, it's not going to eat me without a fight. Like, I'm not going to get eaten without a fight. Prepare yourself. But he is in front of her. Like, he's from this point over, he's extremely protective of her. It's good. I love to see it.
And yeah, so Starscream in an odd turn is the one who has to convince the other Seekers to ally with the Terrans to take down the to take down the Dweller.
Not that he actually wants to at first. So
No.
they're looking at the map and they can see where the Dweller's going, and Robbie's like, shit, that thing is going to the surface. And like Nova Storm and Skyward were like, cool, sucks for you guys. Anyway, bye. And Hashtag just like gives Starscream a look.
Uh-huh.
And he is whipped. He's whipped.
Immediately, he's like, we can't let that thing out, or else there's not gonna be a Cybertronian on Earth who's safe from that thing,
including us. He's like, I really like specifically him saying the boy is correct.
Yes. Oh yeah, because Robbie is the one.
Yeah.
Who brings up like, we can't let that thing out.
Exactly. It's like Robbie's like, it's getting really close to the surface, and Starscream like Hashtag gives Starscream a look, and Starscream's like, the boy is right.
Yeah, also, I'm so happy to hear Steve Bloom's story. It's like a different performance, too.
It is.
Once again,
it's higher pitched.
It's higher pitched. Yeah, Prime Starscream had a lot more growl, and once again, he's just more of a fucking worm. He's like scheming and like so much more cowardly. This is
much less gravelly. It does have like the weird sort of semi-English accent that Steve Bloom does with Starscream, which is interesting.
He's got like a fancy accent,
which is not his natural accent. Listen to
I
Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's very in character for Starscream.
Yeah,
he's probably like aristocratic somehow.
I do feel like the semi-English accent worked better a little bit for Prime than for Earthspark, but so
you fall into the old voice very easily. You're like, all right, time to do Starscream again, and he's got that little sort of inflection to him.
But it is much less gravelly than Prime is. And much more sort of in the middle, which is interesting for Steve Bloom in general, because like he's very well known for his low gravelly voice.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of high pitched guys. So the plan, everyone splits up. First mistake, never do that. And they're gonna try to like.
Well, they do have a plan.
They do. The problem is that they have misunderstood the mechanics of this dungeon.
They misunderstood how very special and sparkly Hashtag is.
So yeah, they're still under the impression that the doors open for all of the Terrans. Like all of the Terrans can control the doors. And
you would think they would test this.
They pair off, and their plan is they're gonna just corral the Dweller into like a part of the tunnel and seal it in.
Starscream's actual words are, "We make a stand here and we bury it forever."
Yes.
Which is, I really like that line.
Unfortunately, that's not how the doors work. It's just Hashtag who can manipulate the doors. So pretty immediately, Nova Storm gets dragged off, and you can hear her.
No one talks about it.
Yeah. Well, everyone else is too busy, like, getting into position. I guess. Someone does react, though.
Yeah, so the first... So it's Starscream and Hashtag who are the first one. And that's able to go off without a hitch because Hashtag is a special snowflake who actually can control the doors. So they're able to sort of corral the Dweller as they plan. Then it goes over to Rob... Is it Mothrash and Nova Storm?
Yes.
Yeah, it goes over to like Mothrash and Nova Storm, and they're trying to do the same thing again. And Nightshade, I think.
Yeah.
Nightshade's with them as well. So
Nova Storm gets dragged off.
Yeah. And they phone in to Robbie and Twitch and Jawbreaker to be like, so bad news, the doors aren't closing, but they don't mention anything about Nova Storm getting eaten.
Well, that's because everyone heard her screaming over the comms, because right after this, Skywarp panics. And earlier she said that she can't teleport through solid objects. She can't, like, teleport through walls, basically. So she just starts wildly teleporting, just hoping to find a way out, I guess, and she just slams right into a wall.
And that also gets ate.
Yeah, then also gets dragged off.
I do want to say, I shout out to a Nova Storm line right before she gets eaten, which is, I hate this plan!
Yes. Then Robbie says he spotted the dweller. There's a big energon signature heading towards hashtag and Starscream.
Yeah, it's heading back around to hit Starscream, and just before it gets there, Robbie's like, wait a minute, that's not the Dweller. Surprise! It's a fusion cannon! It's Megatron here to kill Starscream once and for all.
Immediately goes fucking sicko mode on Starscream.
No questions asked. He wants Starscream in the ground. This relationship is so bad.
And it takes hashtag jumping in front of him to stop him from blowing Starscream's head off.
Yeah, hashtag's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's not the enemy, there's a Dweller. And Megatron's like, Dwellers aren't real. And then immediately gets eaten.
Yeah, he gets tapped on the shoulder like, hello there. I like the bit where he just shoves his fusion cannon in the thing's mouth and gives it a fucking tummy ache. That's pretty good.
So beefy.
Yeah.
He's so huge and so powerful. Like that, I think that is a great moment to follow him almost killing Starscream, because it really demonstrates how strong he is, right? Like, this is a monster that has been menacing pretty powerful Seekers throughout this entire episode without any way for them to fight back effectively. And Megatron immediately, upon being caught by it, while he's having the energon sucked out of him actively, turns around and uses the weapon that he was about to kill Starscream with to blast almost a hole through this thing.
Yeah, and it drives it back.
Yeah.
So they find the nest where we see. So apparently, what it does is that it doesn't immediately consume its targets. It'll save them for later, because we see Starscream, Skywarp, and Novastorm like
in crystal.
In rocks, yeah. Like the bit where Skywarp is like, her hand is free, so she's just like slapping the rock.
She like slaps a rock and like waves a hand. Like the Dweller has like Starscream and hashtag wrapped in tentacles.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so what happens is like
Starscream wrapped in tentacles is definitely a Google search that Sarah Stone has made in the past.
She's not the only one. There is, so what happens is like after Megatron like blasts it like sort of rears back, and then it grabs. So this is important actually, because it grabs hashtag, and Starscream sees this and is like immediately like no, and like goes after her and like tries to pull her through, and Megatron's just like staring at them. He's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Because he's like, wait a fucking minute. Starscream is like putting himself in harm's way for someone else. What is happening?
Yeah, and Starscream is like trying to pull her through, and eventually they both get pulled through this door, and hashtag's ability closes the door. So that's how they get separated from Megatron, and how they both get captured by the Dweller. So they end up in this space with all these crystals, and Starscream is able to shoot a stalactite over the Dweller's head that like drops on top of it and then like breaks the floor, and all three of them fall down into this chamber below. And
at some point here during this struggle with the Dweller, we see it like touch some of the Quintus Prime juice, the magic water.
Yeah.
And it recoils and like sizzles. So that's when hashtag realizes its weakness. And luckily, they do a Tekken floor break and reveal a gigantic pool of this stuff.
Yeah.
And hashtag gets like sent careening into it.
Yeah, so hashtag sinks into the bottom of the pool, and Starscream lands on some rocks, and the Dweller is also on the rock. So, like, Starscream is, like, fighting it, and, like, he's basically been cornered by it. Meanwhile, hashtag's getting mega juiced.
Yeah, she rises out of the water and just fucking drags this thing into it. Like,
I love my big buff daughter.
She literally lift it over her head at one point?
Yes. So she is, to be clear, she's about a quarter of the size of this thing, would you say?
Yeah.
A fifth, quarter, somewhere between like a quarter and a fifth of the size of this thing.
She's like as tall as its big gaping maw, basically. She's pretty small compared to this thing's pretty big.
She grabs it by the tail and basically suplexes it into this pool of Quintus Prime juice.
And it fucking dissolves. It goes bye-bye.
And
It
literally,
dies.
like, as it's happening, like, Starscream's watching her and goes, hashtag?
Wow.
He's like, you good?
Yeah. But hey, it's we dealt with the Dweller. It's gone. Who knows why it was there? Who built these tunnels? It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's
Questions
fine.
that no
Why-
one even thinks to ask in this show.
Yeah, everyone's like, hey, who made these? Why are there a bunch of Cybertronian tunnels deep beneath the earth?
Starscream,
Like that predate the war.
Starscream identifying that there are like Quintesson tunnels older than the Earth itself, probably. Like,
Yeah, like what the hell is going on here?
And-
But no one thinks about that.
and then not examining it at all. You love to see it.
They have more important stuff to deal with, which is the Robbie's condition here.
Well, okay, before that, I do want to talk about, so they all get out, and there is a scene of Starscream and Megatron on the cliff edge.
That's after this. At the end here.
No,
Because
it's not.
Oh, right, at
Starscream's
the cliff
condition
edge
is
of,
the
like,
last thing that
pool.
you see in this episode.
Well, they try. Well, I was gonna say is they try to heal Robbie. They do
Oh,
the
yeah.
linked hands
Well,
thing.
not
and
so
nothing
they don't
happens.
try to heal Robbie, they try to fix his cyber sleeve.
Yeah, which would do. It's sort of the thing where like that. The reason Robbie is sick is because his cyber sleeve is broken, and
Yeah.
it's having a very adverse effect on his health.
But we don't get that quite yet. We don't know that we know that the cyber sleeve is broken, but we don't see the adverse.
I think we do. I think they at the beginning of this episode they identify that like his health is declining because of the cyber sleeve. That's why they're here to fix it.
I thought they were just there to fix it so that he could have his like telepathic connection.
No, because they know that he's like getting worse, and everyone's pretty worried about it, and that's why everyone is so.
Oh right, yeah, okay. Anyway, they're trying to fix the cyber sleeve is the point of it, and
It doesn't work. Nothing happens.
so they all do like a kumbaya circle in the Quintus juice.
Yeah, this is when we cut outside to
Yeah.
everyone else, and yeah, so after all of that, after kind of seeing after Hashtag standing up for him and Starscream running after Hashtag when she gets captured, Megatron does not seem particularly intent on capturing him anymore. Because we see Starscream on this cliff.
Yeah, Megatron has a change of heart. Starscream not so much.
No,
Which-
so he's like,
That's how it
He's
kind
like,
of
what if
works
he
with
can-
abuse victims, folks.
yeah, Starscream just goes, what, Starscream says to him, I'm not going to let you put me back in a cage. And Megatron says, well, what if you could go somewhere safe?
Nowhere is
And-
safe where you are.
Yeah, nowhere is safe if it's with you. And he flies off and is joined by Nova Storm and Skywarp.
It's a really cool
Um,
moment, actually, where he's floating in the air and then Skywarp and Nova Storm, like, teleport onto him.
Yeah, like next to each other. And he looks at Hashtag and he tells her to take care of herself. And then teleports away.
Asking really brave questions that only Shattered Glass and Armada have asked before, which is, what if Starscream was nice?
Yeah. And then Mo turns to Robbie and is like, well, or Robbie goes like, I was really hoping we'd fix the cyber sleeve. And Mo turns to him and goes, why? And he says, oh, it's
Well, I'm
getting way
dying,
worse."
Squirtle.
Yeah, he kind of pulls away his collar, and you see these horrible veins beginning to spread across his body. Which brings us to episode 22, Prime Time. It's prime time, baby.
This is the very special Mo episode, and I'm really glad about it because she's
Yes.
so good in this episode, and it's about time that like she
I,
had her moment.
I gotta tell you, if I'm Dr. Meridian and this happened to me, I'm immediately retiring. I got my
You
ass
gotta- you
beat
gotta
by a
pack it up.
9-year-old.
You got your ass beat by a 9-year-old. You gotta pack it up.
Brother, you literally have a tank gun strapped to your arm, and she beat the shit out of you.
Now, to be fair to Mandroid, he is dying
Not
as well.
Yeah, he also is not in the best of health, but he has the Emberstone strapped. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So Mo's having some bad dreams. She wakes up in the middle of the night, after having a dream about the first night that she and Robbie rode out. But instead, he already has the cyber sleeve, and he turns around and gives her like a horrible scream, like horror movie scream.
Yeah, it's like he looks like a zombie, basically.
Oh yeah, and then she goes to check on his brother, on him in real life, and wow, that's amazing. He looks worse.
Somehow he looks worse than the zombie version of him.
Ugh.
Remarkable stuff.
Yeah, those veins are getting worse. His body is like horribly discolored. He's going like purple.
It's like a purple gray. It's like bad.
Yeah, so they've got him in the dugout. Everyone's gathered around him and trying to comfort him. And
wait, the dugout, is that what you're calling the bunker now?
That's what it's called.
Really?
That is the official name for it. Yeah, on TF Wiki, it's called the dugout. I would call it the bunker, but yeah, because it is literally a fucking bunker that I must remind everyone, Nightshade built in like
2 days,
a day and a half. Yeah, but
listen, that's what it's like to have a hyperfixation.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta build that damn deck.
Autism be damned, my non-bind can work a grill.
That's literally Nightshade. But Dot tells everyone, all right, Robbie needs to rest. Everyone give him some space. Mo doesn't leave his side though, and Dot and Alex kind of are like, we should probably get him to the hospital. Oh yeah, so yeah, there's B and Optimus are also here, and
B does nothing in this episode. He may as well not be here.
he's moral support. He literally doesn't have a line.
Yeah.
But Optimus tells Dot like, well, probably the only thing that could like help in this situation is the Ember Stone, which they think is lost, but of course we know has been recovered by Ghost. And Dot and Alex do the thing, right, where they turn to all of their kids and go like, we promise to help Robbie in any way we can, and this sets Mo off.
No, it's no. So I want to be very clear. What they promise is that they won't let any harm come to Robbie.
Yes, and Mo like snaps and goes, "You don't make promises you can't keep."
Yeah,
and runs off. With Thrash kind of running after her there. So, and this is when she runs out into the woods, and falls. I'm so glad we get more of the falling over in this episode. So many children fall over in this.
Yeah,
it's a classic of Earthspark, because she trips over a fucking branch here immediately. But her cyber sleeve is like blinking, so she tries calling on the power of Quintus Prime. Yeah, are you there, God? It's me, Mo.
Yeah, literally, are you there, God? Are you there, Quintus? It's me, Margaret. She'll do this later on. She'll do this several times in this episode, for the record.
She gets left on red, and
Quintus works in mysterious ways.
He sure does, and we'll learn why maybe I'm not as trustworthy of Quintus Prime as some of the other 13 might be later. But yeah, she does the It's a Wonderful Life thing. I wish I'd never touched that stupid Ember Stone.
Unfortunately, like, it is one of those things where like Thrash gets there just as she says this.
Yes, the classic, like, she turns around, Thrash is there, he looks so hurt. And he drives off. As
you might remember, it was her and Robbie touching the Ember Stone that in fact created all of their siblings. So
yeah, he basically he heard her say, "I wish my brother and sister were never born.
I wish all of my siblings were never born."
Yeah, which and speaking of which, Quintus says, "Bet." And
here's what that looks like.
Yeah, and then she falls again and goes into a dreamscape. Meanwhile, Mandroid gets a special delivery.
Okay, so I did realize, I talked about last time how I think this is a better look for him. And I did realize why I think that. He kind of has a Bill Hader Barry thing going on at this point.
Oh, he does look like Barry a little bit. He's got like the really scruffy beard. Yeah.
He kind of has like a Bill Hader, like, Barry thing going on. And for me, like, it's kind of doing it for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so Croft,
He looks like he's dying, to be clear, the same way Barry looks like he's dying constantly in the
he looks like he's dying and he hasn't slept in 48 hours.
But it's kind of hot. I kind of like a man who's weak.
So, well, he's pretty weak.
I kind of like a pathetic man.
A pathetic man who gets beat in a sword fight by a 9-year-old.
Yeah, well.
So Croft delivers him the Emberstone.
To be fair, he actually wins a sword fight with a 9-year-old. He gets beaten by a 13-year-old on the brink of death. Which is actually much worse.
Yeah, is this better or worse? I don't know.
He gets beaten by like a stage 4 cancer 13-year-old.
Fucking St. Jude patient rolls up and smacks him in the face. Jesus Christ. So yeah, he gets the Emberstone. He ordered the Emberstone on Amazon Prime. And Croft delivers it to him. And luckily, he has been working on an Emberstone harness for his chest. Due to his, him suffering from the malady.
Due to the fact that he is also stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, but he's got 2 really big robot arms, so he thinks he's better than that. This is actually what causes Mo's sleeve to go haywire and plunge her into It's a Wonderful Life world. So she gets her wish granted. She sees she sees a vision of the past where she didn't touch the Emberstone. We have her sort of ghosting through past events, starting with her and Robbie discovering the cave back in episode 1.
There is a really cute moment here. She sort of figures out pretty quickly as soon as she sees herself in the past, what's going on. There is a really cute part though where it gets to the point where Robbie originally knocks the Emberstone off. And she's watching him and she perfectly mimics herself in the past. And is in the same pose. I was like, that's cute.
And then her past self goes off script when Robbie goes to pick the Emberstone up off the cave floor, which of course, if you'll remember, she helped him pick it up.
Yeah.
And this led to things occurring. But this time, Mo says,
I'm not touching that.
I'm not touching that. And so it's only Robbie. But, Twitch and Thrasher are still born, but Robbie's the only one who gets a cyber sleeve.
Yeah. It's so funny because Quintus Prime has the same speech. It's you are the legacy, Robbie.
Legacy of hope. One of them. So, yeah, we cut to the Swindle episode where it's her talking to Thrash about the rules thing when they were both grounded. But because
can't understand them.
Yeah, because they don't have that connection, they're having trouble connecting, right? But they're both young. Neither of them know how to properly express their emotions. So instead of Mo going along with him to help Swindle, she stays home, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't want to break the rules." And as a result,
Swindle gets captured by Ghost, and so does Thrash.
Yeah, Swindle and Thrash get captured by Ghost, and Mo gets to see the look of horror on Thrash's face as the doors close.
What is really interesting about this to me is that apparently in this alternate universe, Dot doesn't do anything about that.
Yeah, I guess she never found out because Mo didn't tell her. Maybe I believe it's
I find that hard to believe. And I find it really hard to believe that, even if Mo didn't tell her, that Dot wouldn't have figured out that Ghost has Thrash.
How did she find out? I mean, maybe in this version, Croft is learning about the Terrans early means that Croft is not. Maybe she gets fired. Maybe she gets removed off of Ghost. You were hiding Cybertronian fugitives, so you don't get to be on the team.
Maybe anymore. So it is also. I mean, even if that were the case, though, it's very interesting to me that Dot didn't move the ends of the earth to find.
Just I don't remember.
Thrash, that's her son.
Yeah, but we see a lot more stuff going really bad. Later. So
because Thrash isn't there, Twitch has no backup. When the Arachnomechs attack
the cave
looking for the Emberstone, and Twitch dies? Is that the implication?
I can't tell if is she in the later scene or not? I don't remember.
No, she's not.
Yeah, we don't see her again, but yeah, she can't. But more, that's bad. Also bad.
And also, like Dot specifically says, like, we can't Robbie, we can't lose you too.
Oh God, yeah, maybe she did die in the
So
cave.
I think so. Like, Twitch dies protecting Alex and Mo and Robbie during the cave-in. The Emberstone gets lost. None of the new Terrans, so hashtag Jawbreaker and Nightshade don't get born.
And then Quintus is like, I bet you're feeling pretty bad, huh? You bet you're like, wow, this is a shitty thing to wish for. And Quintus is like, put his hand on Mo's shoulder, like, you want to see a dead body?
Yeah, so the last thing that they see is the same, like, training scene with, like, Robbie fighting Megatron
when Mandroid, like, hacks into the system.
But when it breaks down, it's just the humans. There aren't any Terrans because Thrash is in ghost jail and Twitch is dead.
I bet you she tried to move Heaven and Earth to get them out, but I bet Thrash is in a fucking black site somewhere.
Yeah.
Thrash is not on the books.
Yeah. And
Thrash is not in the fucking...
And Twitch died protecting them.
Yeah, and because Mo doesn't have the cyber sleeve, she cannot heal Robbie. And he just fucking dies there. And Mo's like, well, God, no, I didn't want any of this to happen.
Well, he's not, he's not dead yet. Like, Optimus in the vision does come up, and he's like, well, he is dying. And Dot's like, cool, thanks, Optimus.
Yeah, he says, like, the Emberstone might be the only thing to save him, but Robbie is the only one.
Robbie's cyber sleeve was the only way to act. He's like, Quintus Prime's power is probably the only thing that could save Robbie, but unfortunately, Robbie's cyber sleeve was the only thing that could access it, and that's broken, so I think your son's gonna die.
Yeah, and as he's dying, Mo calls out to Quintus again. It's like, no, I don't... Spirit, I don't want this terrible future. Oh! Or it passed.
I'll change. I believe in Christmas.
She gets yeeted into somewhere. The
Rainbow Bridge.
The astral plane. And Dot, Alex, and Robbie are all there.
Somehow. This is not well explained.
This is some fucking Prime magic. This is some Quintus Prime shit that just... they are all...
It's fine.
So basically what happens is that Mo,
lazy.
like, screams. Mo screams. Her cyber sleeve, like, flashes. And... like, I guess it all connects them to the same astral Discord call.
Yeah,
if I had to say,
it's lazy writing. I'm not gonna get.
Though I get is Mandroid. Are they all there physically on the ship? Because they do fight Mandroid. Do they have the Emberstone at the end of this?
From this point on, it is really getting clear how much of this is real.
Like, yeah, how much of this is in the physical world?
Yeah.
And do they have the Emberstone at the end of this?
No, I think the implication is that the power of the Emberstone was transferred to Mo's cyber sleeve.
Right.
So they don't have the physical Emberstone. I think that's probably still with Mandroid.
Yeah.
But the power of it is with Mo now.
So yeah, I think that does make sense. So that means
that's my interpretation, at least.
This is all like astral combat, basically. This is all like you are being transported,
or not. Like, it could be real. It's very unclear.
So the threat is, I don't think the threat is necessarily that if the ship crashes, all of you die. I think the threat is Mandroid is going to crash the ship into Witwicky, because what happens here?
Well, I think it's both.
Yeah, it's both.
I think there is a very real threat of them all dying. So they're on this rainbow bridge, and like Robbie's still dying, and then it like transforms into Quintus Prime's ship.
Yes, and
like from like the background, it looks like Quintus Prime is coming through, but surprise, it's Mandroid.
Yeah.
Alex is great here. Alex looks at him and goes, "Oh my God, Dr. Meridian?" And like, Mandroid's like, "Hi, Alex," and it's like, "What are you doing here? Oh my God!"
And Dot's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, Dot's like, "Hey, honey." He like puts his shoulder. She puts like a hand on Alex's shoulder. She's like, "Hey, honey, what the fuck?" And like Alex is like, "Yeah, no, like we taught at the same university. Like we were colleagues." And he looks at him and goes, is this what you're doing now? Trying to kill my kids?
It's like, yep, that is indeed.
And he's like, yeah, watch me do it now.
So, yeah, they're on Quintus Prime starship, which, by the way, for some fucking reason is orbiting Earth in like a stable geosynchronous orbit.
Really unclear how much of this is real.
What?
Like, this is the thing that really bothered me about the episode.
Okay, no. The ship is real. The ship, I think, that is a real ship.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's real. Like I said, they're all astral projecting here. But the ship is definitely real. And I have a lot of questions about why it's up here.
Yeah.
It will never be answered.
I mean, so do I, which is why, like, I'm not 100% sure that it is real.
Regardless, Mandroid is getting ready to... He takes control. He has the Ember Stone in his chest, and so he can control the ship. And he sends it on a collision course for Witwicky.
Yeah, and so Dot and Alex are like, oh shit, oh fuck, we have to, like, get this thing off course before it, like, crashes. And, like, Dot's like, okay, Mo, you stay with your brother, who is dying, as we've established. And Mo's like, fine. And, like, so Dot and Alex, like, go to try to, like, because, again, it's a Prime's starship. It is huge. It is way bigger than them, so, like, it takes the two of them together to try to, like, take control over the controls. And as they do so, Robbie looks at Mo and he's like, I'm really sorry that I can't, like, protect you. And Mo's like, you're dying. Like, you don't have to apologize. And also, like, I'm my own person, and I'm sick of acting like I'm not. Like, I can't do anything. And so she's like, fuck this. I'm not going to just, like, sit here and wait for my parents to save me. I'm going to fight Mandroid.
She squares up immediately.
And she kicks his ass!
Yeah, so he goes like, yeah, whatever, and he goes to fucking punch her, but she blocked it with her cyber sleeve, slurps up the Emberstone, some of the Emberstone energy, and manifests a sword.
Yeah,
and then proceeds to start beating his... I mean, look, we know she likes wrestling. She's been trained by the greatest combat mind of our generation, John Cena.
She's beating his ass into quote retweets.
There's an amazing bit where he has her like pinned on the floor and she just kicks his knee out.
Yeah, she's like pinned on a console or something. So she's a little further up off the floor so she can actually like hit his shins. It does like the very classic like little kid shin hit. Like the thing that all little kids...
It's not the shin. She goes after the knee. I heard it, and you hear like a crack, and Mandra goes ah,
and she is like bouncing all over the place, and like Dot and Alex are trying to control the ship, and like at some point Dot's like, okay, fuck this, like my little girl's about to die. I have to like we have to like do this.
and you know she leaves the steering column and like it starts drifting and Alex pulls her back down and he's like, actually it seems like she's winning.
Yeah, it seems like he's like, look at our girl go. Though I have to say, like, I'm with Dot on this one. If my like 9-year-old child was fighting a man with 2 robot arms,
one of which has a tank cannon attached to it, it must be said,
and I was a trained soldier, I would be also replacing her with me and fighting him instead.
Yeah, it's like, can Mo even hold, like, is her weight enough to like counterbalance the steering column, all sorts of questions about this. It's real. We call this the Quintus Prime starship problem, where you really have to decide if you want to let your 9-year-old daughter fight the megalomaniacal mad scientist with a tank cannon on his arm or not.
Yeah, the Quintus trolley problem.
There's really no easy answer. However, her luck eventually runs out, and he grabs the sword and shatters it. Then some so Robbie at this point he jumps on the cables connecting the Emberstone.
Yeah,
to
Robbie, who is like coughing his lungs up, like out here coughing up blood, coughing up energon. He like Mandroid is about to give the killing blow, and Robbie like jumps in front of her, like don't hurt my, like, you don't get to hit my sister. He goes on his back and, like, rips the tries to rip the cords off, and, like, Meridian just, like, grabs him and slams him on the ground.
Yeah, and then he points the cannon arm at Mo, and is like, he fires. And then Mo activates her stand, the world.
That's right! That is literally Zamarudo! What she says is, stop. And everyone stops.
Including the laser. And you see both Robbie and Dr. Meridian's eyes, like, moving around, like, what the fuck? And she just walks around the laser and tells Mandroid, Prime power isn't something you can steal. It's given, and it's always with you, but you have to be worthy.
And you're not worthy.
And fucking brings her sword out and fucking separates the Emberstone from his chest and slurps all that energy in there.
Yeah, so what happens after this is very unclear to me.
They go to...
They get transported back to the Rainbow Bridge.
They go to heaven. And Quintus Prime is there, and I gotta say, Quintus Prime...
Yeah.
He's got a fucking Transformers animated ass big chin.
He does. He kind of looks like animated Prowl.
A little, yeah, he does have the same, his head's really long.
Yeah.
And tapers. By the way, this is Clancy Brown. This is Clancy Brown as Quintus Prime. And he just basically says, good job, kid. I knew placing my trust in you was right.
The power was within you all along.
But there are worse things ahead. And then they heal Robbie.
Well, first he's like, anyway, check this shit out. And that's when, like, all of the power from the Emberstone flows into Mo's cyber sleeve. We don't really see what the, like, repercussions of that are here. Curious to see what that means moving forward.
Yeah, does this mean that, like, it's just that Mandroid just has a fucking rock?
Yeah.
Is it still active? Like what
that would be really funny. I can't wait for Croft to just kill him.
It's really it's like, you're right. The abstract nature of a lot of this stuff is like, what exactly happened? There's only one thing we know for sure that happened vis-a-vis the real world, and that's that Robbie is
not dying anymore.
He's healed. They fix his cyber sleeve.
Yeah.
And yeah, we see everybody return to they return to the fucking I lost my train of thought. They were sleeping. They all got knocked out at the same time for their astral voyage.
It was all a dream.
But they all wake up, and Mo's like, I'm sorry, Thrash, for saying that I wished you were never born, and I love all of you, and all this stuff. It's very cute. What happened? We don't know. It's fine. It all makes sense if you think about it.
It doesn't, but we'll see what happens in the next episodes.
We'll try and figure out. Look, when there's primes involved, you know there's some fucking metaphysical bullshit going on.
Yeah.
Goddamn wizards. All right, we got some questions. None on Twitter. So how about you take us through the Discord questions?
Sure. From Ruby Road Rage Ruby, in a chin-off to the death, who would win? Quintus Prime or TFA Starscream? Or Spark Optimus 2 if he hasn't abstained from the competition. You know, he does have a rather impressive chin. It's not quite as chiseled as some animated characters. I personally am actually going to give it to Quintus just because it's pointier.
It's so pointy. It's Starscream also has a very pointy chin,
but it's squared off.
It is squared off. Quintus is like goes down a little longer. However, we must consider the fact that Starscream has a lot of ringers. He's got 6 extra chins he can bring into the fray here with all his clones.
I mean, not anymore.
That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Quintus. He's got quite a chin. That is a weapon. It must be said. Yeah, you could sword fight with that.
Yeah.
Of course, the champion is still Sentinel Prime. Like it's just impossible to beat that fucking.
Yeah, I mean he's modeled after chin. The Tick. Of course it is.
Yeah, just its own gravitational field.
Sidewinder Sabrina asks, "How do you feel about Starscream's facial hair? That stuff on his chin. It's fine. It is honestly a lot less intrusive than a lot of the facial hair that some series do for some of their characters, so I thought it was fine.
He's got kind of a soul patch.
The thing is, unlike a lot of the other characters that have like quote unquote facial hair, it doesn't actually it's not meant to. It doesn't seem like it's meant to actually mimic facial hair.
Yeah, he does kind of look like a fuckboy though. He looks like this is mid 2000s as facial hair right here.
Yeah,
so, kind of like the soul patch with the strips.
But if I compare it to Minimus or Wheeljack or whatever, it's like I barely even noticed it because it was so clearly not meant to be facial hair the way those are.
Yes, it's not a big mustache,
right?
Or mutton chops.
Serena also asks, how does this iteration of Quintus compare to other versions? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, so here's where the Quintus lore comes in. So as I said, Quintus has never really been a focused on character in any of the stuff with the 13. He's always around in stories about them, but he's never really a guy who's been super explored, with one exception, and that is, of course, the Covenant of Primus, the big lore book that released around when Transformers Prime was airing. And there's an interesting bit there with regards to his characterization and sort of what his philosophy is, which might color him in a slightly more sinister light. Quintus believes that life, in all its forms, is the most important thing in the universe, and that life should be encouraged to grow and thrive at all costs throughout the galaxy.
Yeah.
So
remains to be seen is what I will say about this Quintus.
And there's a lot of stuff in the Covenant of Primus where people are questioning whether or not Quintus has the right to
do that,
all this stuff. Quintus works alongside Liege Maximo and Megatronish, which should make you him keeping that company should make you wonder what's going on with this guy.
Please look up Liege Maximo's war crimes.
Yeah, because one of those is the fucking robot Satan, and the other one is God. How do you describe Liege Maximo? Just like a fucking piece of shit.
The guy who sucks.
Yeah, guy who sucks, and robot Satan, the Fallen, and yeah, Quintus is someone who he does value life a lot, and one may wonder how much he values life and what kind of life he creates, and that thing about at all costs is somewhat interesting. See, I would say that this version of Quintus so far is very benevolent, but there's a lot of clues about what exactly is he up to. I would say that
we also know so little about him right now.
Yeah, we really only know what we know filtered through these cyber sleeves and the very brief interactions he has with the Malto kids. So he could be doing other stuff. And I think that Quintus, the character of Quintus, I would not say he's evil. I would say that his morality is not really on the same plane as most other people.
I would describe him as amoral.
Yeah, he's he has his belief is that life is sacred. All life. But even the Quintessons that he made.
Right. So the Quintessons are a thing, right? The fact that we had the Dweller in these episodes and this entire tunnel of ancient Cybertronian technology that predates humans.
Yeah.
Also suggests Quintus's influence. So I would say, again, very big remains to be seen for me.
Yeah, we just don't know.
And then
we just don't know enough about it. I would imagine season 2 is gonna be a lot more about Quintus. I can easily see Quintus Prime being a late stage villain reveal.
Yeah,
of
so could I.
There's something fucked up going on that we just don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously he's directly related to the Terran's existence.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of really fucked up places they could go with that, and I would be interested to see them do that. And then Sabrina also asks, what is your favorite Transformers universe creature/monster? Not even a question. Wheeljack and Ratchet and the Dinobots.
Simple brains. There's a lot of beasts and creatures, especially in like the G1 cartoon, but most of them suck ass. Like that weird monkey guy that built Unicron in the G1 cartoon.
Actually, you know what? That's not fair. The Spark Eaters are classic.
Yeah, but also the Spark Eater is like...
Sorry, I meant the Scraplets.
I do like the Scraplets.
The Scraplets are fun.
It's either, to me, I would count the Quintessons as creatures. They're weird. They're tentacly. They've got a bunch of faces. Also, all of the, like, weird shit they make, like the Alicons and the Sharkticons and stuff, I like those guys a lot.
Sharkticons are fun.
I'm just a big Quintesson head. More Quintessons is my demand for Transformers.
Quintessons is your cowbell.
Yes. Except Quintessa. That doesn't count. That's not real. Fuck that shit. That's stupid.
Slipstream Sam asks, what would you do to annoy God if you met them? Personally, I'd pronounce it Jod, just to be kind of smug about it while acting like it's completely normal.
I love Hair of the Ninth.
I'd convert to Christianity.
To annoy him?
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
Oh, that's right. Yep. That would make sense. That would be pretty annoying to him. I don't know what I would do to annoy God.
No, I'm sorry. There's no world in which I would convert to Christianity.
You thought about it for 2 seconds.
I'd convert to Buddhism. There we go.
There you go. That would annoy him even more.
Yeah, that'd piss him off.
Like, central deity in that. It's like, what the fuck? I'm not even in that one.
Yeah.
I would just keep asking about all the fucked up animals that exist. Like, what were you thinking? When you made, like, were you just, like, high when you made the platypuses? Were you just, like, fucked up? Were you just, like, you gone off that star weed or something, bro? Explain it to me. Explain your thought process to me. And when he's done with that, it's like, that's pretty cool. What about gulper eels? What do you gotta say about gulper eels? And I just keep doing that until he, like, smote me or whatever. Basically becoming God's reply guy.
Nero from Disney Minus VR asks, would you still try to annoy God if they were actually the Crimson Chin? Yes.
Yes. God, that thing, you could land a spaceship on that chin. Look at that.
And then, which robot/AI god is the best god, and which one is your personal favorite?
I like AM. Allied Magic Computer from I Have No Mouth. It's like an evil robot god, but,
I'm trying to remember who the Iron Choir worshipped specifically. The Church of the Dead Metal.
Oh, man, yeah.
So...
I believe it's the Divine...
It's Rigger, isn't it?
No. Actually, never mind. I'm changing my answer to Rigger. Because as established, he is our divine daddy. No, Rigger's really cool. No, the Church of the Dead Metal worship the sort of husk of peace. Right.
So this is from the Friends at the Table counterweight campaign. And it is, the divines are literally like religious figure, like they are literally robot gods. But
especially in counterweight, yeah.
I would say so, like peace and order, right?
Yeah, order is like the flip side of
peace.
Yes,
yeah. So there's the Church of the Dead Metal, which worships these giant robots called divines, which were embodiments of the things they were named after.
Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't listened to Friends at the Table, counterweight pops off. Counterweight is a great campaign.
Shit, never mind. I just remembered a later divine from Partisan.
I haven't gotten to Partisan yet. I've done Twilight Mirage.
I'm just gonna say Motion, and you'll know about Motion once you get there.
But yeah, no, there is a divine named Peace, which transforms into Order. And it is worshipped by a church of humans, and I think that is like the best embodiment of like a religious worship of a robot that I've seen.
Yeah.
So I would say that, and then like Rigger is also. I mean, Rigger is fucked up.
I love Rigger.
Rigger is fucked up, but I would say if I had to choose a robot god to be my personal favorite, I think Rigger was so well done.
It's so cool and evil and scary.
So cool and evil, and such a fascinating like perspective of how even ideals taken to their extremes become like really evil.
Yeah.
So I would put Rigger down as my favorite robot god.
Once again, not a good or kind robot.
No,
god. A very evil robot god,
but in terms of like interpretations of what that looks like, I think Rigger Austin Walker, if you're listening, you really popped off with that one.
Good shit.
And then finally from Veer, which Transformers would be the most likely to ascend into godhood? Which would be the funniest? I mean, Optimus is the most likely.
He's done it like 7 times. Yeah,
Optimus
That's literally
is the most
how
likely. Rodimus would be the funniest.
Yes. Yeah. I guess technically Shockwave has also ascended to godhood. That didn't go very well though.
Shockwave less ascended to godhood than he did invent godhood.
That's true. It's different. Yeah, no, Rodimus would be the funniest one.
Yeah. And then our last question this week is from Sabrina again. Who were the OG Prime specialist / favoritist little guys? Who were the least favoritist?
Is this of like the Earthspark cast? Like who's God's little favorite little boy?
I don't know.
Or is this like, because the answer to that is Solus Prime. They all love Solus, which is why when Megatronus fucking blew her back out literally.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's only one bitch among 13 dudes. Like.
Well, in Megatron, it's like I'll blow her back out.
The problem with the original 13 is that they were all heterosexual, but there was only one woman and 12 men.
Primus, you really fucked that one up, buddy. You should have thought about that a little more.
And she was too busy fucking her forge, and also getting her back blown up by Megatronus.
Once again, literally.
Oh no! Well, it wasn't blown out; it was carved out.
So that, I guess that's the answer. But out of like the cast of Earthspark, I mean, it's fucking Mo and Robbie. Literally, they were chosen by Quintus.
Yeah, particularly.
And we don't know any of the other guys.
Particularly, I'd say after this, Mo.
Yes. Who's their least favorite?
Mandroid, clearly.
Yes,
he's not worthy.
I don't think they like Mandroid very much because he is constantly doing crimes against nature of all sorts.
And also Cybertron.
Yes.
But again,
very
unclear about how good old Quintus is here. So
yeah, we don't know anything about any of the other primes in this continuity. Also, none of the other ones have shown up. And I have a feeling we will probably hear about Nexus Prime because I saw that Enigma combination floating around in that like matte painting.
What if like Shockwave just like disappears and then Onyx Prime appears?
Oh God!
Surprise!
Oh no, not again!
Going back to my roots.
Because we just don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a little bit since like we've had some real focus on the 13. I feel. Because like obviously there's a lot of it in Transformers Prime because that's when they were doing all of that stuff, and then it was in IDW. But after that, like, I guess it comes up kind of in Earthspark, in that the guy who owns the bar might be one of them. But other than that, like, I don't know.
Which guy?
Fucking Mac Adam. He's almost certainly Alchemist Prime.
Yeah, I know, but
he owns the bar.
Which bar?
Mac Adams.
In Earthspark?
Not Earthspark. Cyberverse.
Okay, got it.
No, I said that there hasn't been another show that focused on the 13 this heavily since.
No,
Prime.
you said in Earthspark for McAdams.
I would say Cyberverse.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, that makes more sense. Yes.
But that's all the questions we got. We are on Twitter, Prime Cuts Pod. You can find me in various other places. Twitter at Dragon Smoocher, co-host at Dragon Snuggler, Tumblr at Cyclones with a 5 at the end. And I've got, Radio Free Heidelin and Talk Cycles. They're still chugging away. Find us every Wednesday playing that there Final Fantasy 14. Hey, there's a new expansion coming, and they just increase the free trial to cover all of Stormblood. There is a frankly insane amount of this game that you can play for free. So really, no better time to pick it up. This episode has been sponsored by Square Enix. Thank you, Square Enix. It hasn't.
I was playing Nier Automata a few weeks ago.
But if they'd like to, oh yeah, how's that going?
I finished the first run of it. I'm taking a break to do other stuff before I go through a second and presumably third time to complete the number of times I have to beat this game to actually get the full story.
There's a lot more different than you would think, is all I'll say. There's some differences in those playthroughs. I gotta get around to playing Nier Replicant. Anyway, how about your plugs?
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, co-host in Blue Sky, Optimal on Prime, which is my funny robot internet joke. You can listen to the other podcast I do called Pot of Greed, which is about Yu-Gi-Oh! We're in the middle of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I've been cast in a radio drama that should have more information coming out soon. And that's about it for me. Did you already do, Noise Space?
No, I didn't.
We're on Noisepace. Listen to us there at noisepace.xyz along with a bunch of other shows. Join our Discord. Participate in fun stuff. Ask us questions. Join our community. And, I think that's basically it.
Got 2 more weeks of Earthspark. Can you believe it?
Wow, it's almost here. The end of Earthspark. It's only in 2 weeks. Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
2 weeks.
That's crazy. 2 weeks. Wow. 2 weeks.
So until next time, I'm gonna catch up on some history lessons by reading some comics, transform and roll out.
I am going to manifest a super epic anime sword with which to beat down my dad's ex-boyfriend, transform and roll out.
Peach.
Peach.